That's a really fascinating story, guys. That's fascinating how they killed you guys and freaking were unaware that you were coming, right? And but somehow they knew you were coming, okay? And guy comes out unarmed with his hands in the air. If he did have pistols back behind him, okay? Arms in the air, universal term for surrender. He says, hold on, there's women and children in there. If they'd have done their jobs and they'd have posted people up on the roof and by both sides of that fucking door, they'd have pounced on him, it would have been done, they'd have called him away in cuffs, right? But they didn't want to do that. They want to destroy everybody and they didn't want to kill everybody, right? So, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, I don't think they want to be quite as drastic, but they want to make a fucking example, right? They want to come in with force, right? Military force. And they did, man. He comes out with those hands up, and they fucking shot at least one of his dogs, and these fucking guns are going crazy, okay? And so he retreats, so as he's got his back turned, just like at Ruby Ridge, they're fucking shooting at him. So as he's starting to turn here, they shoot him in the stomach, right? And then he scrambles, and they pull him in, and they killed another guy, right? It was the dad of somebody in there, okay? And so, plus they shot one of the women in there, I think even one of the kids got shot, okay? So they got shot to shit, and yeah, a couple ATF agents got, and that's damn sad because they were just doing their fucking job and they got caught in that crossfire. But it's because they followed the orders of the fucking retard, right? If they would have got a good leader, right, that would have had it handled, they would have grabbed David, got him the fuck out of there, right? Guilty or innocent, he had his day in court, right? Would have been guilty at that point because they would freaking, you know, all the evidence, and they would have planted if they needed to. If they didn't have enough of it, they did have firearms on them. That could have done them in right there, right? And then it would just been their word against it. They shot first. David had his hands in the air. There's no way to prove it. Nobody was filming. Well, yeah, the ATF guy called in a cameraman, and then they fucking destroyed the fucking evidence. They destroyed the tape that he did because they knew they were in hot water, right? If this got out, okay? They smashed his fucking evidence. They destroyed it because they didn't want to know that the ATF, the good guys, fired on him first at a guy that was unarmed. Okay, I'm against that, guys. Okay, what I'm really against is then they had terms for surrender, and he's writing these 7 seals just a day or two into it. They told him it could take a week, and they cut the plugs. They sent that lead negotiator home that did his job wonderfully. Okay. And there had only been a couple casualties on both sides at this point. It was the best at that point that it could have been. But instead, they did that. They cut off the power. They freaking did military taxes with fucking kids in there, which is bullshit. Shining these bright ass lights at these kids. No heating and air conditioning in there. It's hot as fuck, right? These kids are getting, it's blasting, flashes of light in their eyes, right? This horrific war noise and all this other bullshit, right? And just completely out of pocket. Okay, there's women and children in there. They're not hurting anybody. If they'd went home, they would have sung and danced and wouldn't even fucking left the ranch, man. They could have came back and tried to strategize later, right? That's how devoted these guys were to their faith, okay? They weren't gonna run nowhere, okay? He felt the Lord was on their side. They were going to die in the war against the government, or the government would leave them alone. They continued to do their thing. That's the way this guy thought. So they come in, they lied, manipulated, went to D.C., told this lady that signed off on it, that there was no other way to do it. She was kind of against it. They lied to her and said that's the only way that we can do it. It's got to be with CS gas. They will not adhere to any of our verbal commands. They lied about having terms of surrender. Sure there's no other way? No, there's no other way. Now this gas can have permanent effect to give them permanent lung damage. You know that, right? Because the mass that they have inside don't fit the kids. We understand that. We're just going to do it for a short period of time. We're going to flush them out. The kids won't have any long-term damage. Don't worry about it. So they burned the place down, right? Children and all. Almost everybody died. There were a few survivors, 5 or 10 tops, mostly adults. The majority of the children that were left in there burned to death, right? And the one they were really trying to protect because they made him out to be a pedophile, and whether he was a pedophile or he was actually what I believe is just because supposedly the mom of the gal that consented to it, was freaking had the same dream after he had the dream. Okay, who's to know back in the day that there was the legal consent back in the biblical days. These were Branch Davidians. You have to remember that. There was a loophole in Texas law where if the girl is 14 years older and she was 14, the gal that gave consent was the mom. Okay, let's bypass all that. Let's say that he was wrong. Okay, let's say that it wasn't even a law, which it was. Okay, so he was back there, so he had a loophole. But let's just say he was a pedophile and child and all this stuff. Okay, let's get worst case scenario in there. Okay, they burned that innocent girl, 14 years old, 15 or 16, I think, by the time they finally did this, but 14, 15, 16, whatever, she child, with a child, they had a child together. So this little baby, adorable little girl, also burned up in the fire. So way to go, United States of America. You really fucked that up. Really saved the day there. Oh, let's not just grab him while he's out running and see if we can put him away. Let's just burn down the whole place, and let's burn all the women and children while they're in there. I'm against that, guys. Okay? And then, of course, they said that they fired first. They said that they put their own gasoline and lit themselves on fire when they had firearms in there, supposedly. So why wouldn't they have done mass suicides with guns if that's really what they did? Fair enough? Wouldn't have. Okay? They would have made it quick and painless. The government did that. I think it was unintentional. Okay, I think they did it because of the CS gas caused it. Because if you look at every incident in a standoff in a civilian setting with, CS gas, where there were huge fires and explosions every single time, the one contributing factor every single time, the variable that always caused that big ass fire and explosion was always CS gas from the 1960s or 1970s. You can't dispute science and evidence. Okay. That was a government fuck-up. 2, they could have fixed it after Ruby Ridge. They still could have given an attaboy pat on the back for fucking up, right? Like they did, even the $10 million deal. But they could have, we're going to fucking change our system a little bit because we can't have this shit happen ever again. Where we're fucking shooting women and children, unnecessarily when we're not being shot at. But we did it 1,000 times worse at Waco. Because we didn't fix our mistakes. That's what I'm getting at, guys. We need to fix our mistakes. We need to call each other on our mistakes as American citizens. When we're talking American lives where people get hurt, where innocent lives are destroyed and imprisoned and killed and maimed and burned. That's bullshit, okay? When you're dealing with a bunch of thugs, yeah, I get it. I get that whole militant thing. If you got a bunch of drug lords in there and this is a drug cartel, you don't necessarily want to be, hey, let's get the negotiator out here and negotiate you. But they're firing at you and they got all these top-of-the-line weapons. I get it in that case. I'm not saying that you got to come in weak. I'm saying there is a time for militant force. Not when there's women and children in there and they ain't trying to get violent with nobody. Come on now. Could have been handled way different. And it was. And the guy was doing his jobs. He did a great job. And they fucked it up. Undercover did his job. Negotiator did his job. They threw both of them under the bus, right? Did what they were going to do anyways. My favorite part of that whole thing, though, was when they cut off the power and everything. And he had them worried at one point because he starts playing this song. It was called I Still Believe. And he played that fucker with the generator. Got the generator to work, right? And he played that song, and they were just, they turned off their lights, they turned off their music, and you could just, it pissed them off. It was mostly rage and anger, and that's why they, we're going to get this done. That's when they did Expedia on the whole lying and getting the paperwork signed to go in there with the CS gas, because they wanted to put an end to that, because they were making them look bad, because now it looks like, oh man, there might be a God, really, and the God might be more powerful than the United States government. Oh my goodness, right? And so that kind of freaked them out a little bit and pissed them off, right? But I think it was initially it was fear and shock, and then I think that after that it just pissed them off, right? No, this ain't a miracle. This is a coincidence, right? So they had no social media or anything like that, and they were still able to do a minor miracle where they were able to take this satellite and twist it and tweak it and communicate yes and no with the radio station, who got them lawyers and everything else. Sometimes God does do small miracles for us, but it takes a little bit of brain power after that. Like if he would have waited on those 7 seals while he was locked up and shit, if he would have been locked up, because those good lawyers that he had probably could have got him off, okay? I don't blame him for not trusting the system, because look at this, what the system did for him, got him shot and everything else, and his kids taken away and all this other stuff. But it's kind of like that thing with the joke with the helicopter and the canoe and everything, where God sent out, and the guy didn't know, oh, God will save me, so he passed up the canoe, and he's living in the house, right? Canoe comes by, come get in, no, God will save me. And then he goes up to the roof, and then they're on the balcony, and so then a helicopter comes, and then a boat comes, and he's like, no, God will save me, you sure? Yeah. Boat goes away, he gets up on the roof, helicopter comes, come on, get in here, no, God will save me. And he drowns, and he goes to heaven, and God's like, what the fuck, dude? And he goes, well, you let me down, damn it. I said that God would save me, and here I am, I fucking drowned. Thanks a lot, God. And he's like, no, don't you fucking play this game on me, motherfucker. And you, goddamn it, I sent you a canoe, a boat, and a helicopter, and you fucking turned them all down, you stupid son of a bitch, right? Of course, if that was a real life situation, there probably wouldn't have been that many curse words floating around, right? But you get to my point, right? But so this is kind of what happened here, is that he had this huge miracle. No social media, nothing, right? Because this is back in 1993. So tweak the fucking satellite, gets the lawyers. That must have been like 1 million or 1 billion to 1, right? Getting that kind of representation in the middle of Waco, Texas, in the middle of fucking cornfield and shit, right? It's impossible almost. Damn near impossible. And David pulled it off, David and his followers. So there was some divine intervention there, I believe, right? So God, I think, had something to do with that. And then they blew it, I think, by having to go through that 7 seals. I think if they would have went out with the lawyers, right, giving themselves up at that point with witnesses involved, right, they wouldn't have been able to shoot them down. They wouldn't have been able to burn down their building. And now they would have had a chance of getting everything thrown out of court, right, and maybe even a lawsuit on top of it, right? They had a big case, huge case, right, because ATF fired first. And lawyers felt they could prove that. And whether they could or couldn't, government's pretty powerful. They may or may not allow you to stand one, but it was better than the alternative. So they cut off the fucking juice, they fucking trampled it down, burned it to the ground. I think that's where they kind of goofed up on not being able to capitalize on that small miracle. But I just hope and pray that fucking the government learned from that shit. Just scares the shit out of me, because there it goes. You can't. It says freedom of religion, my ass, right? There's no freedom of religion there. The firearms that they had, there was a loophole there. You pay like $25, and you can have all weapons you want. And I had illegal firearms, but he found a loophole where he had to attain those legally, right? And the judge, the lawyers could have proved that in court. But as it is, you got 3,000 weapons, or 300, or whatever the fuck it was, of rifles and grenades, and multiple wives, polygamist, underage girls, and blah blah blah. And he was toast, and for a lot of years, I mean, it took a lot of years for me to stand up and say this, because I've been researching this off and on since 1993, and until recently, I was on the FBI side, I was on America's side. I'd heard both sides, I'd listened to everything. I just thought that was bad luck, and maybe the United States could have handled that just a little differently, but once I really got all the facts, I really dissected everything piece by piece. And no, I believe that we're in big trouble if we don't start standing up for our rights, guys. That's just all I'm saying. There's a reason to assemble the Bill of Rights for that's there for a reason. The freedom of religion's there for a reason. If it's Puritan and you're putting fucking people in stocks because the way they believe, where you're doing bullshit like, hey, fucking let's start torturing everybody, let's do this, repeat of the Spanish Inquisition. Well, yeah, you step in, you shut that shit down, right? Fair enough. That's when you step in. But if nobody's being hurt, there's no, are you believing God? Nah, boom, dead. Well, that's bullshit. You gotta put a stop to those kind of religions. Or You believe in God? Yeah, I do. Oh, great. Hey, my God is the son of is the father of Jesus, and Jesus is the son of God. And how about you? No, that's not true. Mine's Allah. And we don't believe in the son of God. Jesus was a prophet. Oh yeah. Boom, boom, dead. Right? It's bullshit. Okay. So we gotta get over that shit. But again, when it's peaceful demonstrations, singing and dancing in the fucking church, and nobody's getting hurt. Leave them the fuck alone and let them worship the way they fucking want to do it, right? And if you don't have proof, unless there's freaking, people that are supposed to be being killed in their religion, leave it alone. Leave it the fuck alone, right? We're talking about 25 people. Investigated, there's no child abuse going on. Leave it alone. Close the case, move on. Come back later if other things pop up, but child service has already been there twice. They've already given him a full bill of clearance, right? Saying these findings untrue. The children were well fed, well taken care of. No signs of abuse here, right? Happy, healthy, and not complaining, and not crying, and not, running away in shelter and having all these signs of abuse like kids have. Nothing like that. There's a reason for it. They weren't being abused. Fair enough? Alright, it's been showtime. Showtime Shred Fitness over here. Size, growth, get big. Alright.